chant on your own. You know, it's interesting because the Rinban has been coming to the temple almost every day this past week, or he came to the temple almost every day this past week because we're having we had a new high-tech, high-powered internet connection connected. And unfortunately, after Wayne's singing, Wayne and Kazue-san's musical performance, we started having internet issues. And so I think pretty much most of the chanting was missed. And so we apologize for that. You know, and I think Jason Wong is here. He's been helping us. And he was frantically trying to get it back on. But what he's now using, in Jason's defense, because believe me, it's not his issue. He's using his phone internet right now to stream this because the temple internet is not working. And so again, our apologies. I know that the internet company will be coming again tomorrow, I believe, to work on some other things, but obviously we're going to have to address this issue. And so again, our apologies for that. And I do want to thank Jason for helping us with this. And I think right now we are streaming using his phone service, and so thank you for that. What we're going to do now is we have a Dharma School message that was recorded, and so we thank Mrs. Diane Hata for this Dharma School message. So please enjoy this Dharma School message. Thank you.
Good morning. The book that I'd like to read with Dharma School is Little Tree, written by Lauren Long. Once there was a little tree filled with little leaves, who was surrounded by other little trees who had little leaves of their own. In the heat of long summer days, Little Tree's leaves kept him cool. The squirrels would climb up on his branches to play. The mourning dove landed in him and sang her fluty song. The little tree was sure to grow up big and strong. Autumn arrived, and cool winds filled the air. The wind tickled the little tree as it passed through his branches and ruffled his leaves. The air grew cold, and the leaves on all of the trees changed color, becoming yellow, red, and orange. Then, one by one, the trees began to drop their leaves. But not Little Tree. He just hugged his leaves tight. "Hello, Little Tree," said a squirrel. "You're supposed to drop your leaves now." But Little Tree was unsure. What would he do without his leaves? Winter came. "What are you doing with leaves still on you?" asked the doe. Little Tree just hugged his leaves tight. Springtime arrived, and the little forest burst into life again. The other trees grew brighter with new leaves. The squirrels played in their branches. Little Tree could hear the mourning dove singing her fluty song. The seasons continued to come and go. "Little Tree," quacked a duckling, "your leaves are brown. Are you feeling sick?" A fox said, "Little Tree, it's autumn. It's time for you to drop your leaves. You can do it." 1, 2. But Little Tree just hugged his leaves tight. All around the forest grew and grew. One summer, Little Tree could no longer feel the sunlight. The squirrels played high above on the broad, tall trees. And the mourning dove sang so far away that he could hardly hear her fluty song. Autumn came again. Leaves began to blanket the ground. Little Tree looked up at the other trees, at their branches reaching high into the sky. He remembered when the trees had all been his size. And then he let go. As his last leaf floated to the ground, for the first time, Little Tree felt the harsh cold of winter. But in time, something happened. Once there was a little tree. Here's the cover. This book reminds me of you, who are growing tall and strong. I really miss seeing you. See you next time, I hope. Bye. Good.
Okay, thank you, Diane, for recording that, and hopefully you were all able to enjoy that. You know, the interesting thing about some of these Dharma messages for kids is that it's not just for kids, it's for all of us. And so thank you, Diane, for doing that. Next, we're going to have our Dharma message by the Rinban, and so here he is.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our Shin Ito Memorial Service. Well, I'm sorry about the glitches that we had again today. We have Jason here, who's an expert, and everything went well yesterday, but apparently our internet is still not good, and so we'll have to get them to come in again. Again, this morning, we cannot have you come to the temple for the service, but welcome to those of you who are joining us online, as many of you do every week. Today is our June Shotsuki Memorial Service, and it is that opportunity to remember loved ones who passed away in the month of June. It is our chance to think back, to learn from the examples of how they lived their lives, and to respond to the wishes that they have, that they continue to have for us. You might notice that I'm wearing this kind of strange face mask, and this came, actually I'm going to take it off, but this came from the service that we had yesterday as part of the Tsudu for Solidarity, the movement for the events that Tsudu for Solidarity has planned. And originally we were supposed to be in Washington, D.C. this weekend to actually do a memorial service on a stage right in front of the White House. But because of the pandemic, and now because of all the protests and so forth, we had to do it virtually. And it just happened that, well, it was, the memorial service part was planned by Reverend Dr. Duncan Williams of USC, who wrote that wonderful book called American Sutra. And he got a group of ministers together, Rinban Noriaki Honganji, Reverend Kojima of Zen Shuji, and also Reverend Nakao, who is the head of the Zen Center of Los Angeles. And so there were, well, Duncan is also a Zen priest, and so there were 5 of us who participated. And we were talking about face masks, and this is actually a Buddhist face mask called bukusu. And especially in the Zen tradition, Zen is very closely aligned to things like flower arrangement and tea ceremony. And so there are, like, I don't know, several times a year maybe, a ceremony to present the Buddha with tea, with like matcha, the tea ceremony. And when they present, well, when they put the bowl of tea on the altar, they would be wearing this face covering. Because, and even like, you know, when we put out the flame, when we're lighting incense, we're not supposed to blow it out. We're supposed to, like, you know, kind of wave it and then have it go out that way. And the reason why is because our breath is not pure. And so this kind of face covering existed from probably hundreds of years ago, way before this coronavirus pandemic. But the Tsudu for Solidarity event, we were not really part of the protest, but we were part of, well, we conducted a memorial service in honor of all the people who were in the World War II camps and all of those who passed away before us. And also to honor or to remember the migrants, especially the children who died in detention centers in the United States. And so part of the program, it was kind of like a Dharma message that Reverend Williams was presenting. And what he did was he recited the names of people who died in camp, and then soon after, well, right after that, a name of a person who died in detention or in other circumstances. And so I just wanted to read a few of them that he read yesterday. He goes, "We call and honor Sachiko Tanabe, August 1944, Japanese Peruvian, 11 years old, drowned in water at the Crystal City internment camp in Texas. Together we recall and honor Angela Valeria Martinez, June 2016, El Salvadoran, 23-month-old, drowned in the Rio Grande with her father during a border crossing. We recall and honor Tatsuo Ryusei Inoue, December 1943, a 33-year-old Japanese confined in a prison within a prison, enduring a hunger strike within the Tule Lake stockade to protest food shortages and the brutal treatment of community leaders in the Tule Lake concentration camp in California. Together, we recall and honor Ronald Umania, March 2020, 30-year-old immigrant from El Salvador, who endured a hunger strike within the ICE detention facility in Hudson County, New Jersey, demanding toilet paper and soap for immigrant detainees to protect themselves from COVID-19 virus. We recall and honor Hirota Isomura, July 1942, 59-year-old fisherman forcibly removed from his home in San Pedro, California, shot by a U.S. Army guard, accused of trying to escape the U.S. Army camp in Lordsburg, New Mexico, despite being physically disabled and barely able to walk. Together, we recall and honor Breonna Taylor, March 2020, 26-year-old African-American EMT, killed in her own bed at her Louisville, Kentucky apartment by police officers who had stormed in without knocking or identifying themselves, striking her with at least 8 shots. We recall and honor Kanesaburo Oshima, May 1942, 58-year-old Japanese store owner, shot by guards in the back of the neck at the fence at the Forest Hill internment camp in Oklahoma, leaving behind his wife and 11 children in Kona, Hawaii. Together we recall and honor George Floyd, May 2020, an unarmed 46-year-old black man and father of 5 children, killed by a knee of a police officer on his neck for 8 minutes, 46 seconds. His last words, "Mama, please," and I can't breathe. We recall and honor James Ito, December 1942, a 17-year-old Japanese American born in Los Angeles, shot by military police in the haze of tear gas during the WRA Camp Manzanar protest against unfair police arrests, killed instantly while officers shouted, "Remember Pearl Harbor." Together we recall and honor David McAtee, June 2020, 46-year-old black business owner in Louisville, Kentucky, shot and killed by police during a protest on the deaths at the hands of police officers of Breonna Taylor and George Floyd. So, well, this is some of the things that were presented yesterday at the memorial service as part of the Sue for Solidarity event. There was also the annual tribute at the Go for Broke National Educational Center. Well, it was that was also a virtual event, and originally, if we were going to have the event at the monument, I was to give, I guess, the benediction. But at any rate, it was canceled, and it was done virtually. And it just happened, well, you know, this is an event to honor especially those who served in World War II. And it just happened that our daughter, Kisa, she gave the keynote talk about her grandfather. We're still in the middle of the COVID-19 pandemic, and although we don't hear about the virus spreading all day on the news, the infection rate still continues to climb. We're especially worried about Brazil, where many of our temples, many of our members live, and hope that they are okay. But over the last 10 plus days, the protests and unrest resulting from the death of George Floyd in the hands of police has taken over as the top news here in Los Angeles, as well as in cities throughout our country. There have been protests every day throughout Southern California and in downtown Los Angeles, primarily in front of City Hall. The first few days saw a lot of unrest in the form of looting and destruction of property, but fortunately the protests recently have been much more peaceful. Many people frame the demonstrations as a political issue, and it is really a political issue. But it is true that it is discussed, and it is true that it's discussed in political terms. But it is truly a human rights issue. Incidents of violence against African Americans have increased, and it just seems that we're more divided than, say, 5 years ago. Apparently, it isn't that they've increased, but that in today's world, everyone records everything on their smartphones. And so it's amazing that people continue to gather for these demonstrations every day. The other amazing thing is that although they are advocating for fair treatment of African Americans, especially by law enforcement, oftentimes the majority of demonstrators are white, Hispanic, Asian, people of all kinds of backgrounds. and the vast majority are young people, although there are older people interspersed. I would say it is, though, that it is a young people's movement, maybe because of the pandemic. Many of them are free during the day. Many of them have probably lost their jobs and are waiting for recovery to take place. But mainly, these are people who are very committed to the protest, and every day because they come every day because it is as important an issue as there is. I heard one young person who was interviewed saying that the most important things that the youth are concerned with are racial equality and the climate. The reason why I say that what is happening is much more than simply a political issue is it strikes at the core of how badly we are doing in living together as Americans, as human beings. The tendency that many people say is, this is our country, not yours. I've never really thought that way because although I am a citizen, I was not born here. I remember my father once remarking, I'm grateful to this country for allowing my son, me, to receive a scholarship to go to college when his mother and father are not American. But the Statue of Liberty stands for the principle that we will welcome all people to our shores. The most famous inscription on it is, give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses, yearning to breathe free. This sentence is quoted often to refer to how our country has always welcomed newcomers with open arms. In fact, if we think in terms of centuries, we're all immigrants or descendants of immigrants, except maybe for the Native Americans. I therefore feel fortunate that along with my parents and two older sisters, were welcomed to the United States back in the mid-50s. But in many ways, African Americans were not extended this welcome. It is true that back in our history, there was a period when Asians were excluded from coming to this country. And it is very true that many of our parents and grandparents were incarcerated in America's concentration camps during World War II. But the earliest African American immigrants came to this country as slaves, not of their own choosing. And although the Civil War ended that terrible part of our history, discrimination has continued toward the African American people and their communities ever since. And as I said earlier, it seems that we are more divided now than, say, when I was in high school over 50 years ago. Japanese Americans continue to be discriminated against for at least 5 to 10 years after the war. Generally speaking, in comparison to those days, we can now live anywhere, and we do not experience racial prejudice much at all. There was a period where Asians were blamed for the coronavirus, but the African American community continues to suffer from many inequities, such as underachieving schools, lack of good job opportunities, lack of respect from law enforcement, which was, of course, the cause of the present situation that we are facing. It is because this is an issue of how we human beings interact with other people, how we treat each other, how we should enjoy the diversity in this country. Recently, there was an op-ed written by Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, which was widely praised by many people. It was entitled, "Don't Understand the Protests? What You're Seeing is People Pushed to the End." Before George Floyd, there have been so many similar incidents that are hard to count and sometimes hard to remember. And then there were so many others, I believe, that were never filmed and were never really, became top news. But in addition to the cruelty of his treatment by police, the reason why it led to what we're seeing all over the country is because there have been so many similar incidents that quickly got forgotten. That is why Kareem says, what you're seeing is people pushed to the edge. The most often quoted portion of his message is the following. Racism in America America is like dust in the air. It seems invisible, even if you're choking on it, until you let the sun in. Then you see it's everywhere. As long as we keep shining that light, we have a chance of cleaning it wherever it lands. But we have to stay vigilant because it's always still in the air. Dust in the air, as he says, only visible when the sunlight shines. I equate this comment to our lives as Buddhists, able to see truth when the light of the Buddha's wisdom comes shining through. Without that, we cannot see truth. Without that, we think we're okay as we are. But it is the light of wisdom, the sunlight shining through, that allows us to see how we are living, how we think in terms of us and them and so forth, permeating every facet of our lives. We are reminded of the relationships that we have in life, what Buddhism refers to as the interconnectedness of life. In our lives, we have relationships with family, friends, fellow workers, Sangha members, and just the daily interaction with people of all sorts. We often find ourselves making judgments about others simply because of the way they look, by the clothes they wear, and so forth. Buddhism reminds us of the example of the teaching of Indra's net, kind of like a beautiful spider web in which each point is interrelated with every other point, describing to us how life is truly interconnected. And in order to make life meaningful and happy, how important it is to greet and treat each person as a friend, as a person who is worthy of our respect and our friendship. This is the way Buddhism would tell us that we are able to make a positive contribution to the world we live in. Even though our ancestors suffered many injustices, rather than be angry about what they could not get, they appreciated even the smallest privileges, kindnesses that they received. Rather than demand their rights as legal immigrants or as citizens of this country, they appreciated the opportunities they were given, as limited as they were. It is difficult to be able to live that kind of life, but whether it's the lessons that we continue to learn from our parents, our ancestors, or the lessons that we receive in everyday life as shared to us by the Buddha Dharma, may we continue to keep our ears, our hearts open to those invaluable lessons. Well, thank you all for joining us today, and thank you for listening. We'll have a short message from Rinban Fujii in Japanese.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you are doing okay. My family is fine, including me. After coronavirus, I wear everyday mask, and I don't meet so many people. So today I forgot to shave my beard. So I hope you don't mind, and your computer doesn't have high definition display. So. 日本語の皆様、お久しぶりです。私見ての通り元気に過ごしてますし、家族も、妻も息子も元気にやってます。このコロナウイルスの、状況になりまして、休みの日といえばいつもは外に出かけてご飯を食べたりとかっていうことが多かったんですけども、今はもう毎週家でご飯を食べて、で家の近所を、今1歳7ヶ月ぐらいになった息子と散歩をする、家族みんなで家の近所を散歩して過ごすっていうのが、日課となってます。皆さんも、そのような生活を過ごされてるんじゃないかなというふうに思ってます。少し良かったなと思うことは、こういうふうに時間が私としてはゆっくり流れているような気がするんですね。なので、普段忙しさで考えれなかったことなどを考えたりするようになってます。例えば、いろいろ写真なんかを、子供の写真とか家族の写真なんかをいっぱいコンピューターに入ってるんですけど、そういうのを、整理したりだとか、 アメリカに来てもう5年にはなってないですけど4年ぐらい経ってるので、まあ、今後日本に帰ってからの生活をどうしようかとか、そういう将来についてのことを、まあ、家にいる間少し考えたりしてますので、まあ、コロナによってちょっと状況が違いますけども、まあ、立ち止まって考えるという時間に、今私は当ててます。まあ、こういう状況は今まで体験したことがありませんし、多分私より年齢が上の方もこういったことっていうのは、なかったと思います。まあ、こういう状況におりまして、まあ、お釈迦様の無常という教えですね、諸行無常、常なるものはない、全ての事柄っていうのは常に移り変わっているっていうことをすごく感じさせられます。これまででしたら、まあ来年の春になったらお花見をしようとか、アメリカにいる間いろんな国立公園を、まあ、旅行してみようとか、そういったことを考えてて、で何ヶ月後か経ったらそういったことができるっていうことを、まあ、当たり前だと思ってたんですけど、実際こういう状況になってそういう当たり前にできたはずのことができないっていうことになってます。ですから、まあ一日一日を大切に生きなければいけない、まあ、常に自分の命がなくなるかもしれない、病気になるかもしれない、年を取って体が動かなくなるかもしれない、そういうことが、まあ、この世の真実であるのだから、一日一日一瞬一瞬を、大切にしなければならないという、教えというのを、まあ、こういう状況にあって改めて身に染みる教えだなというふうに感じさせていただいてます。最後にちょっと一つだけ、まあ、仏教の教えではないんですけど、最近映画を見て気になった言葉があったので紹介して終わりたいと思います。まあ、日本の映画だったんですけど、未来が過去を作るっていうメッセージがその映画の中では紹介されてました。普通でしたら過去の積み重ねが未来を作っていくっていう考え方になると思うんですけど、未来が過去を作っていくんだっていうまあ、普通の考えとは逆の考えですね。で、まあ、私はその意味はどういうものなのかなと考えると、例えば今の状況に表すと、この過去、まあ、今の現在ですけど、コロナの状況で、まあ、皆さんがいろんな不自由な思いをしたり辛い体験をなさってるっていう、まあ、辛い過去ですね。しかし、まあ、私たちがこの先も、頑張って一日一日を大切にしていって、まあ、しっかり喜べるような未来を作れた時、そうした時にこの過去っていうものはまた違った風に捉えることができるんではないかなというふうに思います。まあ、まだまだこういった大変な状況というのは続くと思いますが、皆さんと一緒に頑張っていきたいと思います。これで終わります。
Thank you, Reverend Fujii. Thank you, Reverend Fujii and Rinban, for the Dharma messages today. You know, I think earlier well, hopefully you were able to enjoy the musical presentation. The second song was a song called Dream, and it brings to mind I think most of you, well, at least most of you who are a little bit older, maybe not me yet, but most of you know John Lennon, and there's a quote attributed to him that's, a dream you dream alone is a dream. A dream you dream together is reality. And you know, that's my dream, is that we can all come together and sort of make this world a better place. I know it's very simple, and maybe these simple dreams are sometimes hard to realize, but I think with some of the things that we've seen recently, I can see that becoming a little bit closer. And so I'm hoping that we can all have that same dream. Let's see, have a few announcements. You know, I think I sort of talked about it at the beginning, but you know, as you know, some of the strict restrictions are slowly being eased. You know, I think some of you maybe even enjoyed going out to lunch or dinner yesterday. So there are some things that are slowly changing, but that doesn't mean, as the Rinban mentioned, with all of the recent news about the demonstrations and protests, which should be at the top of our minds, we can't forget that COVID-19 is, we're still in a pandemic, and so we still have to be careful, we still have to be mindful of that. We still have to wear our masks to protect others. And so, that those are things that we all have to continue to do, but some of the restrictions are being eased. And one of them is with regards to places of faith, like our temple. And so, while we're not going to, it's not going to be like it was 4 months ago, not yet. We are going to look at different things that we can do to protect all of you who do come to our temple, again, for services. As mentioned, we're hoping for July, but there's still a lot of things that need to be taken care of in order for us to do that. But the board, as well as some key temple members, are looking at different things to make sure that we can make it safe for all of you. And so just sort of, stay in touch with the temple, whether it's via our Facebook page or via our website for more information, as well as there may be announcements going out from the temple with regards to the slow reopening of our temple, because we definitely miss all of you coming to the temple. So I think, are there any other announcements? Okay. Then, and then one last thing is, the Rinban mentioned the Tsuru for Solidarity event that one of the services was, was recorded or was streamed from our temple. But it's a 2-day event, and so for those of you who want to see some of the things that are going on today, it's a 2-day event. It's tsuruforsolidarity.org, I believe, and there's some events or some activities that they're going to be streaming today also. So take a look at that, and for those of you who are interested. And the Rinban already mentioned it, but I also wanted to shout out to my niece, Kisa, for delivering a wonderful keynote message yesterday at the Go for Broke virtual memorial. And so I really enjoyed it, and it's amazing how much you've grown. So, in closing, we will now have the Gatha Ondok-san 2. And so if you can just sort of stand up and sing along, we're going to have Ondok-san 2. Thank you for joining us. We apologize for the technical difficulties with our Wi-Fi. We hope to have that corrected soon. And a huge thanks to Jason Wong, who was here also last night, setting up. And believe me, everything was working fine last night, and it was working fine this morning when we tested it. But as soon as the streaming started, within about maybe 15 minutes, for some reason the Wi-Fi just went out. And we couldn't quite figure it out, but Jason was able to use his phone hotspot, and hopefully you were able to enjoy at least the second half of the service. So huge thanks to Jason, and also to his family for allowing him to come out for a couple of days. So We hope to have everything in much better order next time, but we thank you all for joining us. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Come out to Little Tokyo, support some of the restaurants, go to Fugetsudo, get some manju, and we hope to see you all soon back at the temple.